Trevor the traction engine was enjoying his work in the Vickard orchard. The birds were singing and apples were brightening on the trees. It was a lovely day. "Hello, Trevor," said James. "You look as bright and cheerful as my red paint." "Oh, I am," replied Trevor. "What's that noise?" "It's the bees," laughed Trevor. "They're in these boxy things called beehive. I'm taking them to the station. The vicar says his bees make good honey, and he's giving them some to his friends." Just then, Boko the diesel engine hummed in. "Take care, you two. Don't make the bees angry. They might sting you." James didn't like being told what to do by a diesel, and he buzzed away. "Goodbye, Trevor," called Boko, and he set off to see Duck at the next station. Bill and Ben, the tank engine twins, were busy arranging cars, but they scampered off when they saw Boko. "I remember the first time I met those two," laughed Boko. "They nearly made my eyes pop out." Edward soon put a stop in their games. "Edward's the only one who can keep Bill and Ben in order," chuckled Duck. "Sometimes I call them the bees." "A good name," replied Boko. "They're terrors when they start buzzing around." Just then, James bustled in. "What's that, Duck? You afraid of a few bees? They're only insects after all, so don't let that buzzbox diesel tell you different. His name's Boko, and I wouldn't care if hundreds were swimming around. I'd just blow smoke at 'em and make 'em buzz off." "Buzz, buzz, buzz," retorted Duck, and James fumed at the station mad. The next morning, James arrived at the station to collect his coaches. The passengers were excited and keen to get on board. The platform was crowded and the porter was in a hurry. "Mind your backs," he shouted. Then there was trouble. The beehive fell and broke open, and the station cleared like magic. James heard a familiar buzzing. The bees were too cold to be crossed, so they buzzed around the fireman, hoping he meant their hive, but he didn't understand, nor his driver. So the bees turned to James. His boiler was nice and warm. "Buzz off, hissed James. One bee burnt his foot. "Ooh, ah, ooh, ooh." The bee thought James burnt him on purpose, so it stung him right back on the nose. "Eee!" whistled James. He had enough. Saw his fireman and driver. They didn't notice until it was too late that they have left all their coaches behind. They tried everything to get rid of the bees. First they spun on the turntable, but to no avail. They tried smoking them off by going through a tunnel, but the bees wouldn't go away. They even tried washing them off, but the bees clung even harder to James' warm boiler. "It's no good, James," said his driver. "We'll just have to go back to the orchard and fetch another hive." James's reply was drowned by the sound of buzzing. The vicar was waiting anxiously for James. When he arrived, the bees swarmed straight into their new home. "Come on, James," said his driver. "What you need is a good hose down." Later that evening, James was resting in the shed when the vicar came to see him. "Thank you for saving my bees," he said. "It's a pity it's not Christmas. Then we could call you James Red-Nosed Engine." Everyone laughed, including James. but they decided to call him the Bee's Knees, which means they thought he was more useful than ever.